And then we're going to go into the 4 types of injury awards based on injury award software such as Colossus. Now, this is pretty important to know. And again, most attorneys don't know this. Matter of fact, it's good if you actually explain it to the attorney. But you will definitely and should know what documentation is going to determine if there's no offer. What documentation is going to determine if it's a lowball offer? What documentation is going to determine if it's a high value offer? And what kind of documentation do you need when you have the possibility of a policy limit award? Well, we need to know that. Most attorneys don't know that. And so you will know, and here's why it's important. You will know by the end of that case, when you plug it into this formula, you will know what type of case you have. Do you have a good case, a bad case? You'll know. And why is that important? Because you're the one that has to tell the attorney. They don't know if they have a good case. Now, they'll know if it's obvious. Was it a head-on collision? Things like that. But if it's just piecemeal of medical information, because most attorneys are only aware if they have any type of a case, they only really look at 2 things. They look at the property damage, and they look at, was there a positive MRI? Now remember, they're not doctors. They don't know the significance or the relationship of all these tests and how to put them together. So there's no reason for them to know. Now, again, that's good and bad news for you. If you're the doctor and you know this, this is what you need to be telling your attorney. In other words, this is what I told my attorney. I was the one that told my attorney whether or not he had a good case or not. Because they don't know unless there's a lot of property damage or a positive MRI. And that is not what you're going to get with low impact soft tissue spinal injuries. Remember, the majority of injuries, 80% of them, are under 20 miles an hour. And 87% of them are a soft tissue injury. Only 32% have a disc, 16% a nerve, 10% mild concussion, and 2% fracture. So the overwhelming majority of these cases don't have what they're looking for. And that's why there's such huge opportunity, especially when you know this. And so again, you're the ones that should know if you have the documentation that will fulfill and take this case from a low ball offer to a high value offer. You're the one that should know the criteria for that, and that's what we're going to go into.